Welcome back to Mad Talks of Football, and two massive points are dropped by PSG against in their game against Lorient, and it has dramatic effects on the title race in Liga. So let's go ahead and talk about this game. I mean, it was a quite an interesting game. If I'm being very honest, PSG were expected to go ahead and win this game. And they started the game very brightly. They go ahead, they were on the front foot. They took the game to Lorient and they scored that early goal, courtesy of Mbappe. It becomes 1-0 inside 5 minutes, and PSG are taking the lead. But credit to Lorient, they did not let PSG's onslaught affect them. They had a go back. They basically they really defended it quite well. If I'm being very honest with you, they conceded early, but they hit PSG on the counter attack and they scored that second goal. It becomes a 2-1 all in the first 15 minutes of the game. Both the teams had scored, and after that, it was basically like an onslaught of PSG attack, and it was one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, and you're just wondering when PSG are eventually going to end up scoring the goal. But I have to give a lot of credit to Lorient, that they held on, they held on so many times. They repelled every PSG attack that they came. And if I'm being very honest with you, I think the PSG were not really what's the word I want to use here? They were not really fluent today. Their passes were not that good. They created a lot of chances, but most of them were not really that good of a chances. It did not felt like they were not threatening enough for to have to create problems for Lorient, and they were repelled quite easily. We finished that first half with the same basic leaning. Lorient were defending like their lives depending on it, and PSG just kept on attacking. A second half comes in, and PSG, they make a couple of changes. Zayamri comes in and he scores that a second goal. It becomes a 2-1, and at that moment in time, you're just thinking, that PSG have now taken the lead and they are going to be able to hold it. This is what you expect of a PSG, and they are going to control the tempo of the game, and they are going to punish Lorient, because Lorient are now going to come out and they are going to have to score that equalizer. And if I'm being very honest with you, I think Lorient controlled that second half much more better than PSG. PSG went on they played the same way that they were playing before they scored, and I think that was an advantage for Lorient, because it helped them create the gaps, and create their chances as well, and they ended up scoring that equalizer, and it becomes a 2-all. And I think that really surprised PSG, and because after that as well, because they really did not expect, in my opinion, that Lorient were going to be able to score yet another time, and I think they were a bit shocked as well, and I think that had an effect on them. PSG are not really going to accept it, but I think the pressure of being in a title race after 2-3 years, it's really getting to them, and you can see in their performances as well. I've said this, throughout the season. PSG are not playing that good in Liga. They seem amazing in the Champions League, but if you look their league form, they have been really, they have struggled quite a lot this season. They're just lucky enough that loans are not, really taking advantage of this, and they're throwing away games which they should be winning. And today again, PSG have dropped another 2 points, and the way that they played today, I mean, they should have easily scored like 7, 8, 9 goals, but they were so poor in front of the goal, and they were just not really able to do that. And they are going to be really disappointed today. I keep on saying, people are going to look at it and they're going to think it's not a big deal, but they have dropped 2 points. They were given, Lens a chance to come back into the game. They are now 6 points ahead of Lens. Lens win later on against Nice. They are they are 7 points. Then they are going to be 4 points behind PSG, and both of them have to play each other as well. So the title race is still open. There's a chance now for Lens to go ahead and get the job done. And of course, PSG's I sort of get it, because PSG are too into competition. Their mind is going to be towards the Champions League as well, and all of that. I get it, but if you are in a title race, you need to make sure that you are getting the job done in the league first, and then you can think about the I'm sorry, my camera broke down. As I was saying, PSG are, they are not really able to, they have not been able to finish the games off in Liga. And again, today you saw that they had so many chances, but they were just not really able to finish them off. And I think that this has been a problem for PSG. They might end up still winning the league, and people are not going to really talk about. But if you really look, throughout the season for PSG in Liga, they have struggled. The other teams have not really stepped up, and I think they have been lucky in that regard, and it has been disappointing from some of the teams. You talk about teams like Lens, what are still in that title race, but still their performances have been quite disappointing, that they had the chances, to go ahead and take advantage of our PSG, but they have not been able to do that. You can talk about Marseille, you can talk about Lyon as well, Strasbourg themselves, Monaco, all of these teams have not really stepped up this season. I personally felt this season that this was the season where PSG would have really struggled. And if other teams, if I'm going to say, if the other teams had really played to their potential, we might easily could have had like a four-way race, a four-way title race in Liga, because I don't think PSG have played to their potential, and at the same time the other teams have not really stepped up and they have not really challenged them that much. Even now, it again, the pressure is going to be on Lens. If they end up winning that game, that's going to be huge for them. But again, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to be quite skeptical of that, because Lens have not, when it has really mattered, they have not really delivered. So tonight it's going to be a big test for Lens, and PSG are going to now, they are not going to show it, the players are not going to show it, the manager is not going to show it, but they are going to be thinking about it, that we have dropped the points here, and now they are going to be looking at the result of that game. For Lorient, it's a great point going away to PSG. It's a tough place to go, first time back in Liga, going away to Ascend, going to the champions. It's not an easy place to go, and the way that they played and the way that they defended, I mean, they should be really proud of themselves. It's a great performance from them. You can take nothing away from them. They stepped up, they really took the challenge to PSG, and whenever, and as I said, whenever PSG came, and they came so many times, it was continuous PSG attack, and Lorient had to defend, and they had to make sure that they don't slip up, and they made sure that they got the job done. It was a really good performance from Lorient defensive wise, and whenever they had a chance to go ahead and attack PSG, they did that as well, quite comfortably as well. And I think again, this is one of those performances, when you look at these games like this, you wonder why other teams are not really able to do that against PSG. And they give the thing with Lorient was, they showed PSG a certain level of respect, but not that much, where they are just gonna give up and let PSG have their way with it. Lorient was really good, and it's an important point for them as well. But for the main thing is going to be that PSG have dropped the points, and now all the attention goes towards that Nice versus Lens game later on, right? And if Lens can take advantage of that, because if they do, then we have that amazing title race on our hand, especially with that PSG and Lens game against each other. That game becomes very important. But then again, it's if Lens go ahead and do their job. But for this game, disappointing result for PSG, a good point for Lorient. That's it from me in this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the game, what you guys thought of PSG's performance, what you guys thought of Lorient's performance, and do you think the league is done, or do you think Lens can make something out of it? And do you think PSG's head was not in the game because they were thinking about the Champions League semi-final, or do you think they were just not good enough on the league? Let me in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye bye.